On a farm along the countryside lived two boys named Henry and Lucas. Henry, 10, and Lucas, 8, were neighborhood friends whose families had shared the farm. Because the countryside was all the boys knew, they shared similar dreams to one day leave the farm and explore the world. As the boys got older, their workload became more strenuous. As the now young adults Henry, 20, and Lucas, 18, were working together to harvest crops, Lucas said to Henry, "I've been thinking about life lately and where we're going from here. We used to have a dream of leaving the countryside to explore the world. Life on the farm is becoming more tiresome. Don't you think it's time we try to make our dream a reality?" Henry shrugged and replied, "I don't know, Lucas. Dreams are just dreams. I barely have time to myself, let alone time to try to make some childhood fantasy come true. I'd rather enjoy my free time than stress myself over something that may never happen." Henry was a master procrastinator. He possessed a brilliant mind with endless talents, but when it came to taking action, he always found himself making excuses. He believed that things would magically fall into place without any effort on his part. On the other hand, Lucas was a hardworking individual who was determined to make something happen. Unlike Henry, he believed in the power of action and perseverance. After they had finished harvesting, Henry and Lucas sat on a bench as they watched the livestock. Lucas, who refused to give up on his friend, said to Henry, "Imagine what the world really looks like off a screen. The adventures that we could go on, the life that we could be living. We owe it to ourselves to at least try." Henry looked out at the livestock with a wistful gaze, lost in his thoughts. Henry nodded absent-mindedly and said, "The farm is all we really know. Yes, the work is tiresome, but it's simple living. To go out of my way to make life more complicated doesn't seem like the best option." Lucas responds back saying, "Yes, the farm is all we really know, and that's the problem. The sense of accomplishment and fulfillment we would feel if we actually pursued our dreams and achieved them will outweigh any confusion and suffering we endure. There's a way, we just have to find it." Henry, whose mind was still clouded by doubt, says, "I wish you the best, Lucas, but this is not the path for me." After hearing Henry's decision, Lucas was left heartbroken, but more determined than ever. After his daily farm work, he would make his way to the local library and spend long hours trying to expand his knowledge. Meanwhile, Henry would find himself enjoying his free time until he had to get ready for the next day. After taking the time to better understand the world around him, Lucas found himself with new information that could make his dream a reality. Having learned how to create advertisements, Lucas set out to work for a firm in the city. Away from the countryside, Lucas found himself struggling to cope with his new life. He was beginning to wonder if all his hard work was worth it. The one thing that would keep him going was the phone calls he would exchange with Henry about life off the farm. With each passing day, the phone calls between the two became less frequent. Days would go by without them communicating. Eventually days became weeks, then months, and suddenly the two began to stop communicating altogether. Lucas, now 30, found himself regretting his decision. He would reminisce about his old life on the farm. He missed the simple life that he and Henry used to live. Henry, now 32, took over the farm and decided to devote his time to starting a family. One day, Henry overheard a conversation his two sons were having. The oldest son, Ethan, said to the younger son, Adam, "When we get older, we have to leave the farm. There's a whole world out there waiting to be seen." Adam laughed hysterically, saying, "You're right. Dad decided to stay here for a reason." After hearing these words, Henry couldn't believe that he never attempted to leave the farm. He was struck with a rock full of regret. He was grateful for the life that he lived, but he was curious as to what could have been. After years of hard work, Lucas's determination was reflected in the successful advertising campaigns he spearheaded. He implemented innovative strategies and creative ideas, earning him recognition within the company and within the industry. Not only did Lucas excel professionally, but he also never shied away from taking on challenges. He was always willing to attempt the impossible. Having received a promotion, Lucas was beginning to bask in the rewards that accompanied it. Exotic vacations with fancy hotels and dinners, all the things he would have never got the chance to experience had he never stepped out of his comfort zone. Despite his unfulfilled dreams, Henry wholeheartedly embraced the role of being a father. He held a deep desire for his children to flourish and reach great heights. Ensuring his kids wouldn't be bound by the same limitations he had experienced, Henry would make sacrifices and take out loans to provide his children with the best opportunities for growth, paying top dollar for their education. As the years passed, his children's aspirations aligned with the corporate world that had eluded him. Henry, now 50, was accompanying his eldest son Ethan, who had an interview for an internship at a prominent marketing agency. As Ethan was about to go in for his interview, Henry's eyes fell upon a familiar face in the office. To his astonishment, he discovered that the owner of the agency was none other than his childhood friend Lucas. The stark contrast between their lives and achievements weighed heavily on Henry's heart as he was confronted with the reality of his choices. Henry's heart swelled with joy knowing that his friend had accomplished his dream, but feelings of regret and a sense of missed opportunities washed over Henry. He refused to be consumed by them, and instead summoned the strength to face Lucas. Henry acknowledged Lucas and all of his hard work, congratulating him on his success. While regret filled Henry's heart as the reality of wasted potential set in, he knew his son Ethan would be in great hands. He saw how Lucas was able to accomplish greatness through thinking big and determination. Henry's mind wandered back to all those moments when he had chosen comfort over growth and complacency over his ambition. He realized that by constantly postponing his goals, he had denied himself the chance to experience the satisfaction and sense of accomplishment that would have come from actively working towards his now dead dream. In the face of this realization, Henry made a vow to himself. He committed to breaking free from the chains of procrastination and embracing a life driven by purpose and determination. He would no longer allow fear or self-doubt to hold him back from pursuing what truly mattered to him. Seeing his friend was just the spark he needed to embrace his new journey, a journey to never let his doubts get in the way of his own ambitions.